Welcome to our virtual community in Facebook and those who are viewing on our YouTube channel. Welcome to the Monterey Center for Spiritual Living. Welcome to the month of March, where we are beginning a new theme, Cultivating Authenticity. And our talk for today is Everyone Else is Already Taken. One of the things that is exciting about this topic of cultivating authenticity is that we get to look at ourselves. And I think I shared with you on several occasions that I can be my own best comedy show all by myself. And so yesterday, the day is unfolding and I'm mentally mapping out my day. And it's like, okay, annual meeting is today. So finish up your presentation for the annual meeting, and then do the finishing touches to your talk. And so I'm on my computer and I'm kind of going through some emails and some other items, and I come across this quote that I go, oh, this would be great to include as part of the talk. And so I make a copy of it and drop it into my notes for today's presentation. And so I'm having this little conversation in my head. No, you're not doing the talk. You're doing the annual meeting notes first, and then you're doing the talk. Well, Spirit had a different idea. So I go into this creative mode, and I'm working on the talk and rearranging things and mapping it out in my mind and saying, okay, now this will fit here, this will go here, this will be a good point here, this will be a good point here. And then all of a sudden, this craving for jelly beans and Jell-O. Jelly beans and Jell-O. Anybody had a combination like that? And so, so I'm trying to apply logic to this, and I'm going, okay, biologically and also chronologically, I'm not pregnant, so it's not that type of a craving. Thinking about when my wife was expecting our children, these kind of unusual cravings that she would come up for, and sometimes, I would just emphatically, join in the craving, and it's like, okay, there is no place on the planet that is open that's going to satisfy this craving, and still. Jell-O and jelly beans. So I'm going, where is this coming from? And it wouldn't let go. So it's raining. Hang on, I am not going out in the rain to get Jell-O and jelly beans. The sun comes out. And so I finish what I'm working on and I go, okay, let me just go satisfy this craving. So I go off to the store and I'll go to C's and I'll get quality jelly beans. And then I'll just pop into Whole Foods and get some of the little Jell-O cups. And I'm going through Whole Foods and I'm going through all of the sections where these items may be and they're not there. I finally asked one of the attendants, one of their service people, do you still have these? I don't know if they still make them at this point. And so they said, well, we don't have the prepared. No, we have the prepared, we don't have the already pre-made. You might try Rite Aid. So Rite Aid is within walking distance of Whole Foods. So I go over to Rite Aid, their shelves are bare. And this craving is still there, Jell-O and jelly beans. So I've got half of it. And so I wind up thinking, okay, where else can I go? And then I remembered, oh, Smart and Final. I can go to Smart and Final. So I'm going down the aisle where all of their cold foods are. And I'm about to give up, and almost next to the end, there's the Jell-O, the pre-made Jell-O in the little packets. So I go, finally, I can go home and satisfy this craving. I get back home, the craving is gone. I go, what's up with this? What's up with this? And so then that stubborn streak comes out and says, okay, you've gone and got these, now you're gonna eat them. The jelly beans were horrible. In terms of the sugar content, I'm not accustomed, my body is not accustomed to that level of sugar anymore. So the jelly beans are in the freezer for whenever this craving may come up again. The Jell-O was actually nice. And so that's my piece of authenticity and transparency for this morning. I really had to laugh at myself. We begin March by honoring Women's History Month. Science of Mind teaches that there is only one life, one mind, and one intelligence, and that each one is an inlet and an outlet to this mind of God, to this creative intelligence. And so during our celebration of Women's History Month, I will share with you some new to me, as well as familiar contributions of women demonstrating creativity in a world that works for everyone. I'm going to focus on some inventions that women have created that we wouldn't have or may not have in the form that they have been created in. And so with this as a little backdrop, we recognize that women have created and improved upon countless contraptions, tools, procedures, fashion, innovations, kitchen implements, and life-saving medical advancements. So the whole gamut of the things that we take for granted a lot of times in life. All too often, though, laws were written and structured in such a way that women were not given credit for their creation. The credit went to a male, whether it was a spouse or another male family member. So there's an element of denial that has been in there, and as those are being uncovered, a whole new world is revealing till we can honor the creativity of the feminine face of God. The very first one occurred in 1809. A woman by the name of Mary Dixon Kies, K-I-E-S, became the first woman to receive a patent in the United States. And she received this patent for a weaving technique that paired straw and thread to produce trend-setting hats. I didn't know that. Unfortunately, Key's original patent was lost due to a fire in 1836, destroying thousands of documents at the US Patent Office. However, in 2020, the US Patent Office reported that more women are filing patents than ever before. So the creativity is still expressing and the credit is being recognized. The other two that I would like to share with you, the first one is disposable coffee filters. I think most of us who are coffee drinkers and may brew our coffee at home or go out and have brewed coffee are aware of the coffee filter. Melita Bentz, B-E-N-T-Z, was the one who is credited for inventing the coffee filter, which is now taken for granted and was revolutionary in the early 1900s. So this is still a fairly new invention. Home brewing methods required a lot of time, cleanup, and tolerance for bitter coffee and sludgy grounds at the bottom of the coffee mug. Pricey cloth coffee filters were available and used like tea bags and steeping grounds in the hot water that poured a subpar cup and an extraordinary mess. And if you've ever had a leaky coffee filter, you know what a mess that can be. Bentz knew that there had to be a better way of brewing for the brewing process that did not require extensive cleanup. And so during one of her experiments, she used a notebook paper as a potential liner and a makeshift filter. Placing the filter in a pot, which she had already punctured holes in, she poured hot water over the grounds, brewing the coffee into a clearly dripped clear cup. Yeah. Bentz began producing coffee filters at home and was granted a patent for her drip cup apparatus in 1908. With the help of her family, she launched a line of drip coffee makers and filters in 1909, branding the items with her first name, Melita. Melita Bentz died in 1950. However, her company, now run by her grandchildren, produces 50 million coffee filters per day. And the second one is the creation of the modern dental fillings. Not always a interesting topic to talk about. I think we can all agree that getting a filling at the dentist office, or in some cases just a visit to the dentist office, is a highly dreaded experience. However, thanks to Dr. Samita Miltra, M-I-L-T-R-A, due to her work, modern dental repair is longer lasting and less conspicuous than ever before. Growing up in India, Miltra credits her father's job at a woodworking factory with jump-starting her childhood interest in technology and science. Immigrating to the United States as an adult, she received a PhD in chemistry. While working for 3M, Miltra began exploring nanoparticles, ultrafine microscopic particles, and their potential use in dentistry. Her research led to the development of Filtek, F-I-L-T-E-K, which is a stronger tooth-like composite filling that could withstand chewing and brushing better than previous dental filling materials, and also turned out to be safer than some of the previous materials. Filtrex was first marketed to dentists in 2002, so even a newer invention, and is now used in fillings worldwide. Dr. Miltra holds nearly 100 other patents, mainly related to dental technology, and was inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame in 2018. So we have progress that is still continuing to go. And this is a good segue into today's topic. Everybody else is already taken. I remember when Mike Robbins, who is one of the individuals credited with this, wrote a book titled, Everyone Else is Already Taken. It was a very interesting book, and I think I may still have it on my bookshelf. Brené Brown offers this definition for us to consider. Authenticity is the daily practice of letting go who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. Authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. And this is from her book, The Gifts of Imperfection, on page 50. Cultivating authenticity involves us releasing our individual patterns of thought, attitudes, and actions that often act as barriers to us standing up to our own personal truth and power. Taking up the practice of authenticity, we develop the courage to be vulnerable, to stand in that truth. And so this month, we will explore parts of the practice for authentically living out loud. When you hear the question, be yourself, everyone else is already taken, we may nod our heads in agreement, especially as we find ourselves sacrificing ourselves in order to fit in for others to like and approve of us. Being our authentic self as an expression of the divine requires us to explore a means for us to recover our consciousness of wholeness. Ernest Holmes writes this in This Thing Called You. Your soul belongs to the universe. Your mind is an outlet through which the creative intelligence of the universe seeks fulfillment. In our oneness with Spirit, we're called to remember that we're spiritual beings first, living as spirit itself. And within us is our real, authentic self. This self is perfect, it is whole, and it is complete. Who we are at our very core is as eternal as God, as indestructible as reality, and as changeless as truth. This is a divine spark in back of all that we do and all that we believe ourselves to be. Each of us is a unique expression of the divine. And what stands between our authentic expression of who we truly are and how we show up is a collection of thoughts, patterns of beliefs, and attitudes. Those that we have come to through our living of life and those handed to us by others, whether it be our parents, our teachers, the religion or faith practice, the media or the world or other sources. By exploring our inner life with compassion, practicing gratitude and acceptance of who we are poised to speak our truth and to experience our courage. And I read this little story that I believe supports our topic for today. And this is from Humans of New York. One day, I'm sitting on a park bench talking to this lady, and I'm eating a sandwich. And the lady says to me, "There's a sparrow sitting on your sandwich." And I think, wow, that's pretty thrilling. So I began to feed it. And that sparrow started spreading the word. And I developed a bit of a reputation in the sparrow community. And suddenly, I became the sparrow guy. There's like 60 of them waiting for me every morning. And so this little story can remind us that if we just do our thing and pay attention to our purpose, it will eventually reveal itself to us. And it often doesn't look like anything that we may have expected or imagined for ourselves. I know in this work, we are encouraged to identify our life purpose. And so there are all types of workshops and seminars and books and other aids that encourage us to find our life purpose. In order to find our life purpose, we need to do this. In order to find our life purpose, we need to attend to this. We need to have this vision board that clearly outlines what our life purpose is. However, our life purpose, our true life purpose, doesn't look like anything that has been imposed on us from an outer source. Imagine what God has imagined for us. This is one of the purposes of our visioning, is to open ourselves to that inner idea of what God's vision for our individual life is. Go with that vision. No matter what it looks like, go with that vision, and you will discover three things. That it allows you to give back in some capacity. This is our purpose. It allows us to give back in some capacity. It feels pretty thrilling, at least initially, and we're quite good at it. So whatever it is that ignites our life, that fuels our passion, that fuels our love for ourselves, and fuels our love for one another, this is what we become good at. This becomes our life purpose. This is where we cultivate our authenticity. This little story offers some simple examples of actions that we can take to express our authenticity. And the first one is to cultivate an awareness of who we are. The moment we were born, our world dramatically changed from the warmth of our mother's womb, where every need was met, to a world that is totally foreign to us, We learned quickly that we could get those caring for us to respond to us if we did certain things. That conditioning begins in infancy. We were told to be like this or to don't be like that, so we could meet the expectations of others. How many of us find ourselves still living, wanting the approval and the acceptance of others? As a result, our authentic needs and wants become less important, and we now feel that if we don't fit in, we can't get by. Don Miguel Ruiz coined the phrase domestication as an example of how it is that our life is changed from being that of the authentic individual that we are to meeting the expectations of others in order to get our needs met. We've heard the expression, know thyself. And this is where we begin to cultivate our authenticity. Through self-inquiry, journaling, through therapy, through spiritual practices and study, we create the space within to awaken from the domestication and to get to know who we really are instead of who we are supposed to be. Our goal is to become who we really are as authentic expressions of the divine. We discovered that our light has been hidden behind erroneous beliefs and identities that have been picked up along our life journey, which cause us to shrink back from living out loud authentically. Our second tool is to cultivate compassion for ourselves. Cultivate compassion for the self. Once we discover our light that was previously hidden behind those erroneous beliefs and identities that we picked up along the journey, it may not always feel safe to live authentically. We've been in this cocoon, if you will, that has sheltered us to a certain extent from really living out loud as our authentic selves. We live out loud as an expression of what we think others may want us to be. We recognize our thoughts and feelings may be different from those around us. And we learn that there are consequences for not fitting in with the group. So the instinct to survive and our need to belong is so strong that we would rather hide our authentic selves for fear of those consequences, for fear of exile and abandonment, for fear that we're not enough, or even that we are unlovable. In this thing called you, Ernest Holmes invites us to start from the truth. And he writes, your soul belongs to the universe. Your mind is an outlet through which the creative intelligence of the universe seeks fulfillment. Your soul, my soul, our soul, belongs to the universe. Our mind is an inlet through which the creative intelligence of the universe seeks fulfillment. And so starting with our individual self, recognizing that we are spiritual beings, we recognize that we're also unique beings who are perfect, whole, and complete as we express our unique designs. Embracing all of ourselves, the parts that we like and the parts that we've been told to not like, opens us up to grace and compassion for ourselves. And our third tool is to cultivate courage and to decide to be vulnerable. This, my friends, is where the rubber meets the road. In deciding to be vulnerable. To cultivate authentic vulnerability, we must ask, or we must recognize that it is not possible to be seen if we hide. It is not possible to belong if we do not welcome others into our circle. Now, this can be scary, This can be very scary because it requires taking a risk. And sometimes the outcome is not within our control. This is where we rely on our inner courage to support us where we take those risks. And we start by taking baby steps, doing something new, doing something new. And doing something new may be simply after service is over and after our annual meeting is over, taking a different route back to whatever your destination is. Observe the scenery on that different route. Trusting another with your heart story. Trusting another with your heart or with your story. And then stand in and speak your own truth. Living out loud authentically will bring us to our growing edge because it will bring us out of our comfort zone. There will be days where we will have more courage to be vulnerable than others. There will be days it may feel like a struggle. Courage is what it takes to keep us moving through the valley of the shadow of death and doubt and fear. Courage and compassion together. It's like the spiritual teachings of love and law. The universe is one of law, and this is the science in our spiritual technology, science of mind. The universe is governed by a set of repeatable laws. The religion aspect or the faith aspect is that there is love. So the law works in companionship with love, love and law. So it is with the courage and compassion working together is what allows us to live authentically, to break free of our comfort zone. It starts with self-inquiry and spiritual practices to bring awareness around to what is happening with us in our reactions to both our internal and external stimuli. Being in spiritual community and surrounding ourselves with people who we trust also supports our journey of cultivating authenticity, giving us opportunities to establish trust, to be vulnerable, and to be a witness to others. And the key underlying all of this is establishing trust. And that trust begins with trusting ourselves, trusting our heart, trusting our inner guidance to always be that which directs us. Cultivating authenticity is not a means to make others accept or approve of us. It is a practice of being real as we grow to love and approve of ourselves. It is our being authentically ourselves because everyone is already taken. And I close with this quote by Carl Gustav Jung. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And now our weekly affirmation. Let us say this together. The beauty you see in me is a reflection of you. Let's say that again. The beauty you see in me is a reflection of you. Thank you, Rumi, for this inspiration. And now something new that I've added as a practice for us during the week, if we choose to do so, is what I have called the application of the affirmation. I am mindful of the time that I aim too low, or walk in shoes too small, and spend my days shooting for a little burst of approval or some small victory. I remember the beauty in me is a reflection of my oneness with Spirit. The beauty in me is a reflection of my oneness with Spirit. And now I invite us to join together in consciousness as we remember our uniqueness as spiritual beings, recognizing that there is only one life There's only one universal intelligence. There is only one infinite mind. And that all of creation is a reflection, is evidence of this creative mind, this creative intelligence. Recognizing our oneness with Spirit, each one an individualized expression of the Spirit, I now speak my word, declaring that as a unique expression of the divine, anything that I choose to experience in life that is for my good and is for the highest and best of all concern is available to me when I choose to take that first step, whether it be a baby step or whether it be a giant step. As I step into the awareness of my eternal moment of now, my eternal moment of beingness, I know that everything is always unfolding for my good. And as I embrace this truth, as I acknowledge this truth for myself, I acknowledge it for all who are gathered in this physical space this morning and those who are joining us via technology, knowing that each one, everywhere, every place you are, is an expression of the divine. And so as we recognize that our individual authenticity is that which allows us to live out loud, that which allows us to live our purpose, I know that everything unfolds in divine, right, and perfect order. That there is no time restraint in the universe. The time restraint is that which we impose on our own unbelief, our own doubt, and our own fear. And so I speak my word this morning, canceling doubt, canceling fear, canceling unbelief, knowing that as expressions of the divine, we are whole, perfect, and complete, just as we are. Moving through this experience of life, whatever the adventure unfolds for us each day, I know that we are guided and guarded to move through that experience with confidence, with ease, with grace, and most of all, with compassion for ourselves and compassion for others. Knowing that the Spirit is always saying, I am with you always. I will never abandon you. I will never leave you. This is the truth that I know about this creative intelligence. And I speak my word for those on this life journey that are experiencing what we may call challenges or opportunities, or whatever word we may use to identify something that is creating both joy and disease, knowing that the Spirit of the living one, the Spirit of love, the Spirit of this creative intelligence is guiding us through these moments of opportunity. So I'm declaring right here and right now that right livelihood is prevailing in the lives of each one, whether that livelihood is in the way of employment, income, all needs met, friends and family, whatever it is that encourages and lifts up the individual spirit and the individual soul, I know that it is available right now. Those who are moving through healing opportunities, healing of the mind, the body, and the spirit, I know that this creative intelligence that created this body, that created this expression that is a reflection of all that there is, created it out of perfection. And so as we cooperate and co-create with Spirit, wholeness is returning. Wholeness is expressing itself in ease and grace and comfort as we move through this journey. And I bless places where individuals are gathering in the name and nature of the one life, the one love, and the one power, regardless of how it is identified, knowing that there are many paths that lead to this place that is called home. this place where the source of all that there is recognized and honored and appreciated. And so for this and so much more, I am truly grateful. And I now release this word back into that law, which always says yes, allowing it to be. And if anything that I have said resonates with you in any way, let us affirm it together by saying, and so it is. And so it is. And now it is time for us to participate in the law of circulation. And this is through our sharing of our financial abundance. As always, I stand before you in deep, deep gratitude for the way that this spiritual community continues to support and nurture itself. All of our needs are met, and for that we are truly grateful. And we have a statement of abundance that I invite us to say together now. I recognize the presence of God within as the source of my abundance. Out of my abundance consciousness flows everything I could desire in life. With gratitude and thanksgiving, I now participate in the flow of uninterrupted abundance. This prosperous experience is evidence of my abundance consciousness. And so for those of you who are here in the center, we have our donation box on the hospitality table, and you're welcome to leave your contributions there. You may support the center by mailing in your donations, and the mail-in address is on our screen, or you may text to give, and that number is also on the screen, 831-246-9694. And you may also donate through our website, MontereyCSL.org. Click on the donate button. And while you're on our website screen, also click on the newsletter button so that you can subscribe to our newsletter and be informed of what is going on within our community. And so to our Facebook family and to those who are viewing us via YouTube, we invite you and we encourage you to hit the like button and also the share button so that this message of love, this message of the Monterey Center for Spiritual Living, one location with many outlets, continues to go forth and spread the good news of love and spirit. And so as we prepare now to make just a little shift internally to getting prepared for our annual meeting, I invite those of you who have viewed us on Facebook and on our YouTube channel to just know that you are loved, you are appreciated, and we thank God for you. And we say tune in next week where we continue with our theme, Cultivating Authenticity, and our message is dropping the mask and the bushels. Let's see where that goes. And so we say good morning to our Facebook and our YouTube community.